Hey guys, it's Darwin. So there are a lot of different things that thru hikers might do compared to a regular weekend backpacker, hiker, or even a bushcrafter. Today I wanted to talk about my top favorite thru hiking tricks of the trade. So recently, Snuggles and I were sitting around talking about some of the things that we learned while doing the Appalachian Trail in 2015 and 2016. Now, we'd been hikers and backpackers for years before we went to do a thru hike, but there were certain things that we learned on the trail that are specific to long distance hiking. Now, there are a lot of different tips and tricks that you can find while doing a long distance trail, and everyone kind of has their own way of doing things. This is just a list of my top favorite thru hiking tricks that I learned while out on the trail. So number one, and one that most people know about, but wrap duct tape around your trekking poles. So duct tape is obviously a great thing to have when you're in the backcountry and whenever you're doing a long distance trail like the AT. When you get duct tape, it's in this big ass roll, which is bulky, kind of heavy, and you don't really want to carry this around in your pack, especially if you're trying to lose weight. So one of the tricks that you can do is actually taking duct tape, wrapping it around your trekking pole, and then it's always there whenever you need to make a repair. Now, there were tons of times in 2015 when both Snuggles and I used the duct tape on our poles to repair a hole in a jacket, to maybe fix a little snag in our tent, or in the beginning I even used the duct tape on my poles to make a custom koozie. So definitely wrap duct tape around your poles. It is super convenient. You don't even know it's there, but when you do need it, it comes in handy. Number two, make a cook pouch or a koozie. So this is one that we learned from another thru hiker while out on the trail. You can make one of these cook pouches out of some duct tape, which you can get from your trekking poles, and a windshield screen. And essentially what it does is it allows you to not use all your fuel while you're trying to cook at camp. So this way, all you have to do is boil water, you pour it into a bag, and then you can insert it into this guy and it acts like an oven. Traps in the heat, traps in the steam, and lets your food cook while you're sitting. That way you're not using so much gas to keep boiling the food to cook it in your pot. Now, I did an older video where I showed you guys how to make these, and I'll put the link up here in the corner. Go check that out if you want to learn how to make one of these, but I would definitely suggest having one of these because it does save on fuel and save on time. Number three, now this is one that I had to learn the hard way. Whenever you're doing a thru hike, you are insanely hungry all the time. I myself have a really high metabolism anyways, so what I would typically do is, even though I bought just enough food to get me through my days and to get me to the next resupply, if I came into camp at night and I was insanely hungry, I would eat more food. By the last day, I would be running super short on food. So what I had to do to teach myself was by separating my food by the day. By taking a gallon zip bag and writing day 1, or day 2, day 3, day 4, I'm able to separate my food by the day, so whenever I grab into my food bag and pull out that bag, I know that that's all the food that I have to eat for that day, and it's easier to ration. Again, this is a trick that I learned in 2015 whenever we were going through the Smoky Mountains. I was super hungry because we were doing a bunch of climbing, ate way too much food, and on the last day, I didn't have enough. So Snuggles had to share her snacks with me. Whenever we got into the next town, I decided to do this little trick, and I've been doing it ever since. So I highly suggest that if you love to eat. Speaking of eating, number 4 is carry out town food. So whenever you go into a town to resupply, stay at a hostel, do your laundry, shower, and the day you leave town to hit back into the woods, take some town food with you. One of the things that Snuggles and I really loved to do was stopping by a Subway or maybe a McDonald's or a Wendy's and getting some cheap town food. So either a big foot-long sub or a handful of hamburgers. That way, whenever we hiked out of town, we could still get a ton of calories that night and be ready to hit the trail back in the morning. We had this revelation whenever we were coming out of Hot Springs in 2015. We had done a short day at a Hot Springs, and there was a guy that we met named August. August carried out a pack of hot dogs, a can of chili, and cheese, and made chili dogs for everybody. Absolutely blew our mind, and he told us that every time that he leaves town, he always brings town food, so that way he has a special treat, he loads up on calories, and then he's set until he hits the next town. Number 5, Dental floss. So dental floss is amazing stuff. Not only obviously do you need to keep your teeth clean, but dental floss is also really great for repairing gear and even sewing on patches. Most packs and outdoor gear and backpacking gear are all made with nylons, water resistant materials, so dental floss is a lot better of an option than your regular needle and thread. And you just simply thread it through a needle like you always would and sew it through. Whenever you're using thread and poking those holes in your gear, you're making small holes, which can also lead to water leakage. So the great thing about waxed dental floss is because it's waxed and it goes into the hole, it kind of seals up the hole and makes it a little bit more waterproof. And if you're a patch geek like me and you love sewing on patches as you hike down the trail, this stuff is much better than thread, much stronger, and holds on to the pack a lot better. So if you're already carrying dental floss with you, you might as well use it to repair your pack. Number 6 is get an ass pad. The ass pad is one of my favorite pieces of gear. You guys are probably tired of me talking about this thing, but the ass pad is one of the best pieces of gear that you can invest in when on the trail. After hiking a long, hard day in the pouring rain, whenever you get to a shelter or a campsite, the last thing that I want to do is sit down on a wet shelter floor, a wet log, or the wet ground. So simply whipping this thing out, throwing it down to have a nice, dry, cushy seat is priceless. The other great thing about the ass pad is it has multi-purposes. So not only do I use it as an ass pad, but I also use it to start fires by using it as a big fan. That way I'm not blowing a bunch of air and almost passing out, especially at higher altitudes. On a crazy windy night, I'll use it as a windscreen. So putting it around my stove to make sure that I block out as much wind as possible. And one of my favorite things for it is I actually take it and at night I slip it between my knees. So that way when I'm sleeping at night, my knees aren't knocking together. Plus, after hiking a long, hot, humid day on the trail, your legs tend to get sticky, especially if you're using bug spray and stuff. So this keeps your knees separated and doesn't give you that weird, nasty, sticky feeling. So by using this between my knees, I've actually got a lot better sleep on the trail since I started hiking. So the ass pad is definitely a great one to invest in. Get an ass pad. Number 7 is splitting a hotel room. So there are tons of times that you're gonna wanna stop in a town, stay in a hotel or a hostel. So hostels are usually gonna run you anywhere between $15 to $30, depending on what section of the trail that you are on. Over time, those can add up to be pretty damn expensive. So one of the tricks that I learned while out on the trail in 15 was splitting a hotel room with a bunch of other hikers. A good example is in Hiawassee, Georgia, 6 of us split a Holiday Inn hotel room. Now we all could have paid $25 to $30 a piece staying at a certain hostel that was right outside of Hiawassee, but instead we bought one hotel room for $100 and split it between 6 people, which obviously was cheaper. So if you're hiking with a handful of other hikers, splitting a hotel room definitely saves you money on the trail and gives you a little bit more of a personal trail experience when you are staying in town. Even splitting a room with one other hiker is definitely going to be cheaper. So instead of paying $70 for one hotel room for just you, splitting it with another hiker is going to cut that in half, save you money, plus it's probably going to be a pretty good time because there ain't no party like a hiker party. Number 8 is one of my favorites, and not only something that I do on the trail, but also when I travel, and that is removing the tube from a roll of toilet paper. So obviously a roll of toilet paper is big, fat, and bulky, and obviously you need shit tickets while you're on the trail. So by simply removing that little bitty cardboard tube out of the center of a roll of toilet paper, it allows you to squish it and get it much flatter. So that way you can take it and shove it down into the crevices of your pack, and it takes up less room. Plus, if you're a hardcore weight weenie, it takes out a little bit of weight. Number 9, utilize the bounce box. So your friends and family are awesome people. They send you resupply boxes on the trail. Problem is, they don't understand that you might not need so much damn food. Every time we ever got a resupply box on the trail, there was so much food in it, we didn't know what the hell to do with it. Enough food to like resupply 8 hikers. So utilize the bounce box. Instead of taking that food and giving it away to other hikers, which is a good idea, and I'll always take your food. Go to the post office where you pick up your box, get another small flat rate box, throw all that extra food in there, Plus, if you want to, go to the grocery store and grab a little bit extra food, seal it up, and send it to the next town and the next resupply point. Good thing is if you get to that town and you still don't need the food, bounce it. It's always free to keep sending a box from post office to post office. So it'll save you time, it'll save you money, and then you don't have to tell Aunt Susan why you wouldn't carry her 20 pounds of beef jerky. So number 10, and the last one that I'm going to leave you with this week, is utilize your guide. So most Thru-Hikers are going to carry either the AWOL guide or the Thru-Hiker's Companion. So where they're great books and nice to carry that big, chunky, fat book, get rid of the pages as you hike. Now, I know there's a lot of book lovers out there that don't like destroying books or burning books, but look, it's a lot of stuff to carry. It's a thick book. As you're going down the trail, you don't need those last pages, so rip them out. Not only is it nice to take out that extra book, get it out of your pack and take that weight out, but it's also nice to see that book get smaller and smaller and smaller. So if you're ripping it out anyways, you might as well use it for other purposes. So either use it to kindle a fire, or if you run out of shit tickets, you always have some backup TP. So hopefully you'll utilize some of these tricks next time you're planning for a long distance hike. There are a lot of different tips and tricks out there of the trade. This was just a list of my top 10 favorite, but what are some of the ones that you know of? Leave them in the comment box below and let us know. If you haven't got a chance yet, go over and check me out on Instagram. I'm posting a lot of new photos lately of some of the things that Snuggles and I have going on throughout the week, plus some pictures of some past hikes, so go check those out. If you found any value in this video, go ahead and hit that like button. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. As always, guys, thanks for watching.